Welcome to this Sagaciti Insight Software how-to video guide where we're going to look at how to score a toolkit. You can access more of our guides at www.sagaciti.co.uk. In the side menu, if you click on More Info, then click Using Sagaciti Insight, you'll see some helpful information about using the software, the PACS elements within the framework, so that's principle, approach, key element and sub-element, how to use the Insight software, and also scoring. You can score each group of statements within the PACS elements as honestly as you can and just use the criteria below. But if something's clearly defined and understood, you probably won't need to go searching for it. The scores have been deliberately kept simple. Green where there's strong evidence exists, amber where there's some evidence, and red where there's no evidence or it's unclear what the toolkit was talking about in relation to your organisation. There's some guidance too about when you think an element is not applicable to your business or organisation, and the fact that the toolkit can only aggregate your results based on the sections you complete. Return to the dashboard now, which is always a useful landing point to negotiate and navigate the system. And then we're going to look at the first assessment. You can see here the grey areas show there's elements of it uncompleted, and the red, amber and green show what's been completed, and by looking at the scoring slider at the bottom you can see what level this is scored at. In this case we're scoring at sub-element, but you can show what happens with the key element level, the approach and the principle level. So by clicking the title we get taken to the RAG matrix for our first assessment toolkit. If you want to navigate between toolkits, this is the place to do it. The view level shows that we're set at principle, but we could be at approach, key element or sub-element. And the score level shows what level is actually being shown in the RAG charts, sub-element or key element. And by selecting key element you can see that the RAG chart changes. It also changes if we select approach and principle. So going back to sub-element level for the scoring, we're going to look now at the principle. This principle is customer service user focus. We have the description and the guidance, and to score this we can actually just score at principle level if we want to do a quick assessment. We actually read the description, decide which score it should be, red, amber or green, or grey if we don't want to score it, and by clicking on the pen icon by the rationale box we can access and edit the information we have in there. This is a well-functioned editor and allows you to add images, hyperlinks, styles. You can add more information in here. Now we run Grammarly, which shows up the spell check here, but there's actually a spell check within the editor which defaults to British English. Just make the changes you need to make, and then when you're done just click Finish Checking. Within the styles there's a special container. This is useful for highlighting text, adding headings, actions, etc. Just run the spell checker again. And then when you're happy with it, just save the evidence. you'll see that's appeared in the rationale box next to the principal, and you can drag that down if you need more space to see what's in there. By clicking the approach level across the whole toolkit, you open all the approaches for every principle. You can see this is currently scored as amber, but you can select the score at this level. So again, you could drill down if you wanted into approach level and just score at approach level across the principles. You don't need to add rationale, but we advise adding evidence. If you go to key element, you see principle here, the approach is here, and the key elements attached. But that's not scored at the moment, we're scoring at sub-element level. So by selecting key element level, you can see that the rag charts change, and we go into this and we can see the key element scores for those other key elements we've already entered. And we can select for the key element of definition which score we want to give it. Again, we can connect into the rationale editor and add the text we want to. Basically, if you want to do a fully detailed assessment, we recommend building up from the bottom. So start with the sub-elements, score those, consider your evidence, take notes, add documents or images, and then that will populate the PACS elements above the sub-element. You can select approach level, and you can see that once approach level is selected for scoring, the key element pies aren't shown. And if you show more detail for the sub-element aligned to those, they don't show either. So we'll go back to sub-element scoring, show more detail to see the key element, show more detail to show the sub-element. This sub-element has yet to be completed. So to score, we read the definition, we look at the description, we consider the statements, and then we consider how we fit against this. In this case we give an amber, and you can see that that populated the rank chart for both the sub-element and the key element above it. We're going to add some evidence into the rationale box. Make the evidence as long or short as necessary. You can keep bulleted notes, you can just make lists, or you could add keywords. The flexibility of the system allows you to use as much or as little as you want to. So we run the spell check, we're happy with that. We've got our comment in, and we're just going to save that evidence, and we can see that appears in this rationale box. There's two ways to look at another view of this, where you can view all evidence, or you can click on the sub-element unique reference number. View all evidence takes us to this view, and you can see at the top of the screen the evidence we just entered. The important thing about the rationale box, which is why the text is red in this view, is that this is the one rationale box that appears in both this view and on the front screen. You can score here, and you can show or hide all the evidence contained within. Or you can do it individually, and here we're going to add more text. In this case we're adding a numbered list, and just using Grammarly to do the spell check. You can keep track of actions you want within the evidence boxes. And in this view there are multiple evidence boxes that you can actually complete. So we go back to here and you can see evidence boxes, for example, the as is, what's driving change, the performance, any notes you want to make on the to be, and a summary and recommendations. And when you come to printing these out, you can select which of these you show, if any. We're currently deliberately oversizing this box to show what happens on the previous screen. But evidence here in this rationale box is also visible in the sub-element rationale box on the RAG matrix. The difference, however, is that none of the other rationale evidence in the RAG matrix is visible in the current view. Just save the evidence, and there it is. You can scroll down, use the slider bar, or expand the box to see the evidence. Now go back to the RAG matrix. And we're going to show more detail rather than open every principle to sub-element, because that's a quick way to drill down into the system. And here you can see the sub-element we've just added the information to on the other screen. Again, if we amended this using the rationale box here, that would carry across to the previous screen. One additional point is that if you try and score and the PAX elements beneath the score you're trying to change don't support that score, you'll be asked if you want to override it. You can see the RAG chart updated here, but you get a score overridden reminder. You can reset that simply by going back to the score that the system gave. Again, if you try and make it too low, it'll tell you, and if you click not to override it, it just keeps the previous score. To find out more, please contact us at info@sagaciti.co.uk or visit our website. Thank you.